Hey, welcome to this new episode. Today we're gonna see how to make a delicious and healthy, again, lunch. So you can be in a bowl, it can be in a bowl if you're on the go, or it can be in a plate if you're at home. So let's go with the ingredients. The ingredients that we're gonna need today are gonna be carrots, broccoli, a lot of garlic, tempeh to add a bit of protein, even if we have a lot of protein in our quinoa. For the dressing, we're gonna need chickpeas and peanut butter and some tahini to make the final dressing. And to give a bit of taste to our quinoa, we're gonna have some vegetable stock over here. But first, if we have to start with something, it's gonna be with the carrots. If your carrots are dirty like mine because you go to the store and buy the most dirty ones to make sure they're not thrown away, you can simply take out the skin. If they're beautiful, I deeply invite you to keep the skin. First, I'm gonna peel my carrots. Actually smells so good. Terrific. Now we're gonna cut the carrots in half to make it easier, and we're gonna start to have some delicious carrots. I love them really fresh. It takes a bit of time. If you have a food processor, of course you can go with the food processor, but we're here to make some muscle in the kitchen.
A few moments later.
This is actually a lot of work, and if you're messy like me, the second thing to do will be to clean your kitchen. But that's okay. To make sure you don't throw your carrots away, you can just put them with some leftover veggies in a stew for yourself, or just to make your own vegetable stock. When you've cleaned a bit, we're gonna just set the carrots aside and we're gonna start directly to cook the quinoa, and we'll prepare everything left while the quinoa is gonna cook. So I'm gonna add a cup of quinoa for 2 cups of water. To make sure I add a bit of taste to my quinoa, I'm gonna add some vegetable stock. So this one is not homemade, so there is a lot of sodium in it, even if it's reduced. So I'm not gonna add any salt or any pepper, just that would be enough. Just put it in, a small stir, and let's put it to cook. We're gonna give it a boil, and then we're gonna just reduce to low heat. Okay, let's keep moving in the kitchen. We're gonna prepare real quick the chickpeas, and we're gonna prepare the broccoli right after. Let's move on the next step that's gonna be prepare the chickpeas. So what I'm gonna need is definitely the chickpeas themselves, some paprika, salt and pepper, and a bit of coconut oil. So basically it's gonna be really simple. I'm just gonna take a pan over here, put it on medium heat, a bit of coconut oil into that pan, and I'm gonna let it melt, and then I will add the chickpeas, some salt, pepper and paprika to taste. While the pan is getting hot, I'm gonna prepare the tempeh real quick. So I've choose a white tempeh, so a soy tempeh. If you love other kind of tempeh, you want a soy-free option, you can definitely go for a black bean tempeh, and personally this is my favorite. I'm just gonna cut the tempeh in like beautiful slices like this. I'm gonna cut it in half, add it to a bowl, put some balsamic in it. Perfect. some pepper, a bit of salt, and the greatest ingredients we can have in a kitchen, some peanut butter. Just mix it gently with the spoon. Make sure each piece of the tempeh is coated with this delicious 100% peanut butter, nothing added into it, no extra oil, really yummy. Okay, the oil have melted. I'm just gonna add the chickpeas real quick, and I'm gonna just make the heat on medium heat, and I'm gonna start giving a stir to these chickpeas. Add a bit of paprika, salt, and pepper. Start to mix the chickpeas and make sure you don't forget them on the pan. You don't want them to stick at the bottom of the pan. If you want to cover and make sure, if you want to make sure that the chickpeas aren't gonna stick too much, you can just cover them and the water should stick inside. Okay, the quinoa is now boiling, so we're gonna reduce to a low heat and cover. Now we should go with a timer for 15 minutes. Hey Siri, set a timer of 15 minutes. While the quinoa is cooking, we're just gonna prepare the broccoli over here, because we're gonna cook it with the same oil that the chickpeas, because so many flavor inside of that pan. So really easily, I want to keep that part. I really like that part actually. When it's well cooked, I'm definitely gonna eat it. So we're just gonna cut some florets out of the broccoli. If you like them big, just keep them big. I could eat the broccoli just like this, but I'm gonna cut some florets out here. The best thing to do if you have a wok is definitely to make the broccoli in the wok, but I just have a pan, so I'm gonna definitely enjoy the pan. You can start to hear the crispy chickpeas. They're singing, it's beautiful, they start to smell really good. We're just gonna give it a stir until they're more crispy and crunchy, and I'm gonna cover them. Okay, if you wanna have some small florets, if you want your broccoli to be really tender and well cooked, I deeply invite you to cut it in half. Each floret you have, you just want to have equal size florets, if it makes sense. So for the big one example, I'm probably gonna cut it in three. Let's move on and let's give a last stir to this delicious chickpeas, and I'm definitely gonna take them out of the fire and set them aside in a bowl. To make sure my broccoli is not gonna burn, I'm gonna add a bit more of coconut oil in that pan. I love coconut oil personally. Okay, and when the coconut oil is gonna melt, I'm just gonna add my broccoli. Let's add the broccoli in the pan, and right after we're gonna make the dressing. So you want to make sure you're not on a high heat. Okay, just reduce the heat. You don't have to cook the broccoli really fast, and you can cover them for a few seconds to keep the water inside, to make sure they have less chance to be stick to the pan. You're gonna make real quick the dressing. So today is gonna be a tahini dressing. I love garlic. I really love garlic in most of my dressing. So we're just gonna have 2 cloves of garlic, some tahini, and a bit of olive oil. And to give a special taste to that dressing, I'm gonna add my favorite, some ginger inside. Okay, so let's start with the garlic. I'm just gonna peel the garlic real quick. Okay, let's add to the bowl the garlic directly, no need to chop it. I'm just gonna take out the skin of the ginger and maybe cut it in three, add it inside. Now it's time to add the delicious tahini. If you never use tahini, I deeply invite you to use tahini in your kitchen. If you're vegan or not, you should definitely give it a try. For your dressing, it's just amazing. Let's add a beautiful tablespoon of tahini inside. Now I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Delicious. While I'm making the dressing, I'm just gonna give a stir to the broccoli to make sure they're not getting burned on a side or another one. So just gently stir them. And they still smell the smell that the chickpeas have left in the pan. This is just amazing. For the broccoli lovers out there, this is gonna be really tasty. Let's keep going with the dressing. We're gonna add the chickpeas inside. A bit of salt. A bit of pepper. Let's add half of a lime juice. If you want to keep the seeds in your hand, just grab the lime. As I do, make sure you have clean hands, because if not, and someone get in the kitchen, you're gonna get shouted to. Let's add a bit of water inside. And we're gonna start to give it a mix, and we're gonna see if the texture is satisfying enough. If it's not, we definitely can add more chickpeas if you have some left, or some water, and just try to adapt yourself. Okay, I'm definitely gonna add a bit of water inside. I like it more liquid. At the same time, I'm gonna add a bit of salt. A bit of pepper. Okay, and let's go for another round. Let's give a try to that delicious dressing. Really liquid, the way I like it actually. And this is delicious. Okay, let's give a stir to the broccoli. Make sure they don't burn. They actually start to smell like fries. Really interesting. But they're gonna be delicious. I'm a broccoli lover, so I'm definitely gonna enjoy these ones. Let's take out the broccoli out of the pan, because we're gonna put the tempeh inside. Okay, if you had only big chunks like me, make sure they all fit in your bowl. Now to cook the tempeh, we're just gonna go with another teaspoon of coconut oil. If you want to reduce the fat in the recipe I'm gonna share with you, you can just go with less oil. I just have a really sticky pan and I enjoy coconut oil. This is my personal taste, but we're just gonna make sure the coconut is spread evenly in the pan, and we're gonna add the tempeh. So let the tempeh cook until the quinoa finish to cook. We're just gonna give it a look. To make some space, I'm just gonna put the delicious dressing we have here in these little cups. It will be much funnier to pour them in. Oh. Ça, clairement non. Okay, it's time to turn the tempeh around. So what I do to make sure I've turned them equally from the time they've cooked, I just turn them from clockwise. So I start with the top one and I go outside to inside. So they should have cooked the same time evenly. It's hot, so make sure you don't burn yourself. If you're quite scared of the heat, you can directly go with 2 forks. I just love to use my fingers when I cook. Where is the fun when you have no risk? This pan is really sticky, but that's okay. That's why I add a lot of coconut oil to make sure that even if the pan is sticky, they're not gonna totally stick to it and we'll be able to enjoy them. When the tempeh is good, let's take it out of the pan. Make sure it's gonna be delicious. Right on time, I'll start to arrange the kitchen real quick because we're gonna serve soon this delicious dinner. The quinoa just start to be cooked, so we're just gonna give it a quick stir to make sure that like the rice, actually all the water that stay down is gonna be removed. All the steam is removed when you give it a stir. And we're gonna let it here for a few minutes, actually 2 or 3 minutes should be enough. Just a time for me to clean up the space. Okay, let's go, let's make the dressing. The quinoa is cooked now. So I'm just gonna go with maybe 4 tablespoons of this delicious quinoa. I say delicious because it don't taste just like quinoa. It tastes like quinoa with vegetable stock in it. So yes, trust me, it's delicious. I can smell it right now. It's just amazing. Okay, now we can go with some broccoli. I love broccoli. My hands are washed clean. If you love broccoli, if you're a broccoli lover like me, you can just go with more than a handful of broccolis. Actually, perfect. Then we're gonna add the carrots because we need a bit of color in that bowl. So same, a handful of carrots will be perfect. And if you wonder if it's gonna be dry, no worries. We have our dressing over here. I just want to go with the chickpeas because they're really tasty and delicious. So actually with all the measurement we have for this recipe is for 1 to 2 person. I'm a big eater, so actually if you ask if it's for me, it'll be just for me. If you're a small eater, then definitely that could be for 2 person. Okay, let's add the tempeh because this tempeh is so crispy and I don't know if you can see it. It's really delicious. That one is for me. Okay, once we add the tempeh, I'm just gonna add a last one. It's gonna be a delicious plate. Now what we're gonna do is add some cashews. I love these ones. They're really cool to add some nuts into your meal because I don't know, it's gonna add some maybe more texture, crunchy, even if the broccoli is gonna be really crunchy. And then finally we have this delicious dressing that I'm gonna pour over all of this. Thank you for watching that video. Don't forget to like and comment. Don't forget to subscribe to make sure you will not miss any other video to come.